Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on YouTube for about to be 15 years. And out of all the experiences I've had, all the videos I've uploaded, and all the streams that I've done on Twitch, this is probably going to be the most controversial video that I ever upload. Because this is the type of video that can change an entire landscape, change entire communities forever. And it could be really detrimental to the parties involved, or it can put me in a really fucked up position that makes me liable for my shortcomings. Now, this isn't one of my typical YouTube shorts where I go off on a tangent about something that's going on in sports or pop culture to get a rise out of people and get some critical thinking and common sense going. No. This is some serious shit. These are some serious allegations being levied against a man who plays a big part in one of the ever-growing communities on the YouTube scene. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about plagiarism and how one man had to throw his integrity out the window to take a shortcut to the promised land. With that being said, sit back, relax, grab yourself a snack or a drink, and in the words of the Black Eyed Peas, let's get it started. So to understand the topic at hand, we first have to talk about sports YouTube, one of the fastest ever rising subgenres on the platform. You see, back in the day, us sports fans, we would have to go to ESPN to stay informed about our favorite sports. Nowadays, the advent of the internet and social media has transformed the way that we all consume our content. As long as we have an internet connection, we have access to tons of different information and opinions about our favorite sports and our favorite teams. Best example of this, the Deep Three, who I love, by the way, a basketball YouTube channel where it's just three dudes with microphones, not just talking about the latest developments going on in the NBA, but talking about the history, the culture, the players that have made the sport great, all while they sit around and have a good laugh or two. Motorsports is another area that has gained a lot of popularity on YouTube, where people like me have been drawn to personalities, from Dale Earnhardt to Tony Kanaan, from Fernando Alonso to Jeff Gordon. Regular human beings getting in inhuman pieces of machinery, driving around inhuman marvels of architecture, pushing the limits of man and machine. This in turn has attracted all walks of life to various forms of motorsports. One of the leading figures of the motorsports YouTube community is the man we're going to be talking about today. Black Flags Matter. Black Flags Matter. Real name, Darian Gillum. He is a distinguished commentator in the world of motorsports. His extensive coverage of various motorsports organizations, including Formula One and IndyCar, IMSA, etc., with a primary focus on NASCAR, has earned him over 74,000 subscribers as of this recording. Through his series of long-form essays, he shares captivating stories about the history, the present, and future of the sport, whether it be stories on the track or stories off the track. Additionally, Black Flags Matter hosts a lot of different series surrounding this theme, one of which being Gone Too Soon, where he basically pays tribute to drivers who passed away too soon and left a lot of questions in the wake of their passing. Black Flags Matter has had an undeniable impact on the NASCAR community here on YouTube, and he's basically been one of their flag bearers. No pun intended, by the way. He also participates in the NASCAR Weekly podcast alongside other notable YouTubers in both the NASCAR and motorsports industry, such as The Iceberg, Danny B, and Eric Estep. The podcast got so popular that it even led to their channels being promoted on the 78 car driven by Cup Series driver BJ McLeod. Darian's strong resume and presence in the NASCAR community has made him a trailblazer in the industry. All up until a month ago, when a serious allegation was made against him, which may have altered the public's view on his authenticity. The controversy started on February 15th, 2024, when a guy by the name of No Context Noom on Twitter called out Darian in a tweet, and I'm going to read it right here. It says, quote, Black Flags Matter's newest video is literally just a copy and paste of Daytona USA's 2's Wikipedia page. I'm not joking. See for yourself. And he links the YouTube video in the Wikipedia article. He continues, quote, This is a frequent thing I've noticed with his videos. He constantly plagiarizes people's works and doesn't source them in the video or description. The fact that he has not been called out on this is insane. He knows what he's doing is wrong, hence why he swaps the words around. End quote. Now, I think it's important to understand what plagiarism is, so that way we can avoid the serious consequences that come with committing the act. To make it simple and to the point, plagiarism is the act of taking someone else's work and claiming it as your own without giving the proper credit. This can be articles on a website, articles from a newspaper, other people's videos, other people's essays, any form of content that has tons of information. Now, if you want to use other people's works to support the topics that you're researching, that's fine. But you have to make sure you cite your sources. It's not just about courtesy, it's about ethics, and as you're soon going to find out throughout this video, legality. By citing your sources, you not only show respect to the original creators, but you also help your, in this case, viewers find more information about the topic at large. So it's always good to give credit where credit's due. Now for this part, I'm going to provide some good examples of source citing so you can kind of get an idea on how it's done and how it's executed properly. This first example is from a video from Formula One commentator Daily FuelUp in regards to the tragic accident that took the life of Formula One legend, Brazilian driver Ayrton Senna. This shows the viewer that other sources were used to make this video possible. Here's another example from a pro wrestling commentator named WrestleLamia in a video talking about the tragedy of the Von Erich family. Notice at the bottom of this quote where the source and the author of the source are written. That's to let viewers know where to go if they would like to know more information about the Von Erichs or about pro wrestling in general. It also gives credit to people like Irv Muchnick here, who work in the industry, who've been a part of the industry for a long time, who know the behind-the-scenes politics, the ins and outs of the business. Now, if you would like plagiarism on YouTube to be explained in more detail, I have two videos I'm going to recommend. The first one coming from the guy that kind of spearheaded this whole movement against plagiarism, H-Bomber Guy. It's a 3-hour-long commitment, but I guarantee you it's worth every minute. The second video I'm going to recommend to you guys is this one from Jaguar Gator 9, where he talks a little more in depth about plagiarism in the sports community on YouTube and exposes the depressed Ginger for copying Wikipedia articles as it pertains to news in the NFL. I will link both videos in the description. This video by Jaguar Gator 9 is the reason why this video is being made. Fun fact. So go check it out when you guys have the chance. So, how does Darian respond to these criticisms? Well, he decides to respond on his own YouTube video. To a guy by the name of Lyle Tolito 11, I hope I'm pronouncing this name right, but it goes a little something like this. Quote, Darian, you need to start actually putting work into your content. Just reading from websites isn't it. You can keep deleting comments all you want and not take accountability for your actions. It's only going to hurt you more. Please try to do better. You're only hurting your reputation by doing this. So of course, Black Lives Matter responds with, "Mods, delete comments, Lamau." Oh no! Somebody's caught me! I might as well get my army to start deleting comments left and right! They'll never take me alive! So in response to all the criticism that he was getting, he just decides, I'm gonna delete the video and forget about it all! Except one guy didn't forget, that guy being NASCAR gaming commentator Drive-Thru. He posted a 2-minute clip of Darian's original video alongside the Wikipedia article. Dude literally just looked up synonyms with a crying emoji. Now, we're going to listen to this video. We're going to present this video in its entirety. I do not own this video. This belongs to Drive-Thru. I will link his YouTube and his Twitter in the description below. That being said, roll that shit.
The game's visuals were much improved thanks to the Sega Model 3 technology, and the bulk of Daytona USA 2 cabinets were released as deluxe variants capable of supporting up to 16 players. A noteworthy departure from the original is the opportunity to choose a car and associated driver, each with different characteristics for varied player skill levels. But like in the original game, mirrored versions of the tracks may be played by holding down the start button while picking a course. However, it is advised that the player has already mastered the course before doing so. It's also set up where an arcade operator could extend the number of laps in a game by setting it from Grand Prix to Endurance mode upon request. Finishing a race in the top 3 on any track allows the player to witness an ending and the game credits. The slingshot was added to the game to represent advanced NASCAR drafting techniques. The first edition of Daytona USA 2 to be released was Battle on the Edge. Sega produced an enhanced version of the game with Daytona USA 2 Power Edition released in December of 1998. The beginning course's atmosphere has definitely changed in this game. The dome and natural landscape that encircle the track in the standard edition have been removed, resulting in a more conventional NASCAR oval look. However, the course layout remains the same. The challenge course choice combines all 3 courses, and the beginning car scheme has been updated along with marginally improved handling mechanics. The classic Hornet vehicle, the player car from Daytona USA, has been added to Power Edition with an improved design and handling identical to that of the original game. The Hornet Classic car was accessible in Battle on the Edge, but the unlock code remained secret until New Year's Eve 2020. The AI is also more aggressive in this edition, and one corner in the advanced course has been modified to equalize the difficulty. Before the alteration, many players thought this was the most difficult corner in the game.
I'm gonna put our friend Drive-Thru to the side here. He may or may not become important later in the story. Depends on how I'm feeling. So a couple hours after the initial conflict, No Context Noom goes to his Twitter and uploads a video where he catches Darian plagiarizing word for word from an article on motorsportsmemorial.com talking about the Roy H. Weaver situation, where he was a track worker that got ran over by a race car during a Goodies Dash race at Daytona, which is like, at the time it was leagues below the Sprint Cup Series, or the Cup Series, Winston Cup, whatever the hell you want to call it. And we're going to play this video now. Like I said with the previous one, I do not own the rights to this clip. All rights go to No Context Noom on Twitter. Roll it.
NASCAR decided to drop its sanction because of shrinking attendances and virtually no media coverage. But in October of 2003, a deal was struck for the series to continue. Ray Perpoto was a 21-year-old in the Air Force back in 1984 when he was driving his car in his native New Jersey when he suffered an accident that would completely change his life. He broke his neck in the accident and became paraplegic. Racing helped him get through. Both cars were destroyed in the accident and other vehicles were damaged as as well. While Billings was conscious and able to move, he had to be extracted from his car, which was cut open during the operation. He was taken to the Halifax Medical Center, where he was in satisfactory condition on Sunday night. Clevenger managed to leave his car unscathed and was checked and released at the Infield Care Center. While all of this was, it appears the pickup crew did not inform the race control that debris was found in turn 2. Therefore, the information was not relayed to other marshals or to the other drivers and their spotters. Because of the 21-degree banking, Weaver had to almost crawl up the banking, making it difficult for incoming drivers to see him. Propoto was unaware of all of this and approached turn 2 at more than 100 miles per hour. As he drove into turn 2, he spot Weaver in the middle of the track and immediately hit the brakes. The car fishtailed and the rear of the passenger side struck Weaver. He was flipped over the vehicle and was killed instantly. One fan who saw the whole thing from atop of his trailer had said, "The guy was running 1 second. He took 2 steps on the track and it was over."
Alongside his Twitter, I'm going to link the Google Doc that he had made in regards to Darian's plagiarism on this Roy Weaver video. Because that video I just showed you, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Darian was caught plagiarizing not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4 times, but 17 different occasions throughout that video. I shit you not. Now, Darian did eventually respond to all this with 2 tweets. The first one read like this, quote, "Announcing my retirement from Wikipedia and will be taking my talents to Oxford Reference Online Premium." Which is basically a way of saying, yeah, sorry but not sorry. 41 minutes after he makes that tweet, he comes out with this one. Quote, "Took down the video from yesterday. I was lazy and wanted to get a video out there, and it led to a much sloppier product. I don't ever want to do that again. You guys deserve a higher standard than that. My apologies. I'll be better." Which is a better apology, but at the same time, like, come on, dude. Now, with all that had transpired, you'd think that this would be the end of the shit show and everyone would go about their happy ways, right? Well, last time I checked, this video still got a lot of time left on it. So, of course, it's not the freaking end of the story. Because I figured, if he's able to plagiarize 2 videos, I wonder what else on his channel's been plagiarized. So that's when I decided to do some detective work. I was at work when I got a notification from one of the Discord servers that I was in regards to the aforementioned tweets that we just talked about. And I figured during my lunch break, I would do some investigative work. Because if this is a one-off thing, that's one thing. But if this is a continuation or a pattern, then we need to talk about it. So I was looking through his channel, specifically at the videos where he had to do a lot of research. And I clicked on the video that he did talking about the Truck Series driver that survived a basilar skull fracture. Now, if that's setting off alarm bells in your head and you don't know why, that's the same thing that killed Dale Earnhardt in that infamous race at Daytona years ago. And as I'm scrolling through my phone on Google, as the video's playing in the background, I come across an article talking about this situation in the LA Times from 2000. No joke, Darian copies word for word from that same exact article. And I'm going to show it to you guys right now. And the way I'm going to show it to you is this. The copy text is going to be right here on the screen with the video playing in the background right here. So that way I can show that I'm not trying to pull any bullshit on anybody. Roll it.
After the collision, he tried to jerk his helmet off because he felt claustrophobic. He knew something was wrong. Once he got his helmet off, he grabbed his face and saw the blood. He was bleeding heavily from his ears. Along with the skull fracture, he suffered a concussion, nerve damage, blood clots, and considerable bleeding internally and through his ears. The skull fracture caused major vision problems and left him with no depth perception.
Honestly, I was just sitting there stunned. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And to reroute to the original tweet that started it all, if you look at the description of his video, it's not cited anywhere. Also, I find it funny because this is the same dude that made a video talking about how the mainstream media doesn't understand NASCAR, and yet you're using a mainstream media source to get all your information without citing them. Funny how that works, isn't it? That's some good-ass tea. I decided to dig a little bit deeper when I got home. My intuition took me to a video that he had made talking about motorcycle racing's darkest day. Come to find out through a bit of research, he had plagiarized and copied word for word from not just motorsportsmemorial.com, but even paraphrased an article from Motorsport magazine as well.
On May 20th, 1973, just 17 minutes past 3 p.m., the world of motorcycle racing would change forever. While approaching the first bend, Renzo Pasolini suddenly skidded on the left side. His speed was an estimated 130 plus miles per hour when he fell down, hit the stray bells, and crashed into the guardrail, killing him instantly. Upon the impact, his motorcycle lost the saddle and tank, dumping a large amount of fuel, which was immediately burning. The machine bounced in the air, striking Jarno Saarinen in the face in the middle of the track, causing a huge pileup. 12 riders were involved, several of them suffering considerable injuries. The reigning world champion was thrown into the air, landing on his back some 40 meters ahead. Even though this race turned into a complete horror show, it continued for several minutes. The leaders managed to avoid the debris and bodies of the fallen racers until the third lap. They kept threading their way through the chaos until they pulled into the pits and said, "That's enough." The race never restarted, and all of the remaining ones were cancelled.
Once again, you go to the description of this video. Don't see a damn source or citation for it. Damn shame. Next, I came up to one of his other NASCAR videos talking about Ricky Rudd basically being a badass in surviving the heat to win a race at Martinsville. And just like the stuff that he was getting accused of to begin with, he got his sources from, you ready for this? You ready for this? Wiki-frickin-pedia!
In 1984, Rudd was involved in a horrific crash during the Busch Clash at Daytona in which his car went airborne. The end result was a concussion and a torn cartilage in his ribcage. With the help of a flak jacket as well as taping his eyes open because they were so swollen, he was able to race in the Daytona 500. Then 1 week later, he scored his first win of the 1984 season at his home track of Richmond.
Even with everything that I had just uncovered, I felt like it wasn't good enough. So I decided to do what the cool kids call a double take. Specifically on the part of the Ricky Rudd video where Black Flags Matter talks about how NASCAR drivers can get cool, clean air pumped in through their helmets while they're racing. And my gut instinct took me to the Twitter account of Hendrick Motorsports, the most prestigious team in NASCAR history. In a video uploaded by a man named Scott Honan, who is the interior mechanic for the number 9 car driven by Chase Elliott. Lo and behold, Darian copies this man's words to the T. And I'm going to play Darian's video and the Hendrick Motorsports video. And you tell me if this is plagiarism.
Chase doesn't run your typical AC like you would have in your car. We run 2 fans and a carbon monoxide filter that filters the air to his helmet. The air is taken from the outside of the race car through a duct, filtered in through this hose, then through the carbon monoxide filter into this small fan. It's then pushed into the top of his helmet, and that's what keeps his head cool.
Let me emphasize that this is not air conditioned. The way it works is air is taken from outside of the race car through a duct filtered in through a hose, then through the carbon monoxide filter into a small fan. It's then pushed into the top of a driver's helmet, and that's what keeps a driver's head cool.
Just like with the other videos we've talked about, go to the description, sources and citations. Yeah, never heard of her. There are 3 other videos I caught him plagiarizing. They're self-explanatory though, since he copied off Wikipedia. I'll speed run through them real quick. One of them being his NASCAR Heat Evolution video, which, by the way, remember our good friend from before, Drive-Thru? Yeah, he's featured in this video.
Oh my god, what? What the fuck? What the fuck?
The other 2 videos are the one where he talks about North Wilkesboro and the other one where he talks about the video game NASCAR Rumble. I'm just going to play these right there. You get the drill at this point.
License now belong to a new publisher, Duesenberry Martin Racing. They acquired the NASCAR license from Technics in 2015, a deal that originally lasted through 2020. The new company's president was Ed Martin, who had formerly worked for Papyrus, Hasbro, EA Sports, and Technics. Its CEO, Tom Duesenberry, was the founder and president of Hasbro Interactive. Longtime owner Enoch Stanley had died of a stroke in late May of 1995. Less than a month later, SMI CEO Bruton Smith purchased 50% of the track, with the other 50% being owned by Bob Baer, owner of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Not long after, they announced their intent to use the spring and fall dates for their own tracks, citing North Wilkesboro Speedway's age and lack of modern amenities. One of the quotes that stands out to me every time I look back at this announcement was when they said, "Cash rules everything around us." The 1996 Tyson Holly Farms 400 marked the final Cup Series race in the track's storied history. Hall of Famer Junior Johnson refused to attend the final race, stating, "I'm not going. It would be more of a sad deal for me to go out and just stand around and look at something disappear." Bruton Smith needed extra security for the weekend, as most hostile race fans viewed him as the reason for the track's closure. The main objective of the game is to win a race or series of races against 1 to 5 opponents. You can either race as or against regular stock cars or stock cars that would be modified to the limit, as well as some of the Truck Series best at this particular time, as well as a few drivers that are no longer with us today, in John Andretti, Adam Petty, and Kenny Irwin Jr. But you also had more. You could do a Cyber Team Championship, where there are 3 teams with 2 players on each. The team members combine their points, and the standings are based on both members, so it can be a good check of strength for an expert opponent. There was also the classic co-op mode, where 2 human players are on one team. There is also a legend mode, where a player can unlock a past NASCAR driver in a championship against the legend and 4 regular drivers.
And much like the first 3 videos we discussed in this chapter, these last 3 videos I researched, if you look into the description of them, there are no sources listed. I mean, it's great that he's listing out where he got his videos and his pictures from, but it would be equally as nice to know where you got all your research and your information from. And again, like I said before, these are just the videos that I've personally done research into. There is a lot more to this story than meets the eye, because as I was redoing and revising my scripts and shots for this video, yes, I had to redo a bunch of shit to make this possible. No big deal. It happens to the best of us. I came across a Reddit post from a man who runs a YouTube channel, goes by the name of Robert Burkett. And he uploaded a 25-minute video giving more detail into Black Lives Matter's plagiarism, specifically on his more popular videos like his Gone Too Soon series. I'll give him a shout out to his YouTube channel and link that video in the description below in case you want to check it out. Like I said, it's a 25-minute commitment, but we're in the age of long-form content, so you'll live. Hell, you're surviving this video. That's more than enough. It's also worth noting that around the time Robert had made his video, Black Lives Matter uploaded a video on his channel about the abandoned Beverly Hills Speedway. And of course, our good friend No Context revealed that the video contained information stolen from both Wikipedia and BeverlyHills.org. In response to this, Darian blocked him on Twitter. Now, I'm not going to show this video because we would be beating a dead horse at this point. It's obvious Darian has stolen tons of content. The reason I'm bringing this up is because this took place a month after Darian apologized for getting caught the first time. You see, this is a common tactic used by manipulators. They apologize as a means to get people off their backs so they can turn around and do the same thing that got them in trouble to begin with. Then when they get confronted with their misdeeds, they act in denial and block out criticisms. Or in situations like this, just plead ignorance to your follies and talk about how people are just reaching for ways to bring you down and drag your name through the mud. Boy, you can't even reach into this bag to grab a fresh set of nuts. Now, I bet you all are wondering, Heath, what the heck is wrong with plagiarism? What's the matter with it? Well, from a morality standpoint, it's just lazy. Especially given Black Lives Matter in the position he is in right now. Like, dude, you're one of the, if not the most popular YouTubers when it comes to talking about NASCAR or motorsports in general. You're a part of a very popular podcast which has netted you a decal on the paint scheme of a very notable NASCAR Cup Series driver. You're supposed to be better than this. And since we're talking about morality, let's transition over to legality. Because the fact that he plagiarized an LA Times article, a newspaper that requires you, after a while, to get a subscription service to keep up with their news, and the fact that Darian is making money off these videos, you could make a serious case against him not just stealing other people's content, but stealing other people's money as well. He could get himself into a bunch of shit by doing this. And I could already see the comments rolling in, but Heath, what's the big deal about copying from Wikipedia? They already said it's legal to copy from their website. What you have to understand is Wikipedia is a website where anyone with an internet connection can go on and create and edit any article as they see fit. For example, you could be reading a paragraph from one of their articles talking about Tony Stewart, and it could be edited and reworded 2 hours later without you even knowing. And that's why colleges and institutions have outright banned their students from using Wikipedia as a source of information for their essays and projects. Heck, with this revelation alone, you can make the argument that Darian is potentially spreading misinformation on the topics he's making videos about. And I'm not in any way saying that he is spreading misinformation, but whenever you see smoke billowing out from underneath a door, you have to assume that there's going to be fire in that room. And this solidifies my point from earlier about why it's important to cite your sources. Because not only are you telling people the best places to go, sometimes you're telling them the best places not to go. So, while making this video, I got a lot of different responses from people. Really polarizing reaction to this. Oh, Heath, you should just drop it. Everybody plagiarizes, so what's the difference? You're just starting drama by doing this. You can't be the world's policeman. Well, I hate to break it to you people. This is not drama. This is accountability at its finest. Remember that video I talked about with Jaguar Gator 9 calling out the depressed Ginger? He brought up a very interesting point on why this all matters.
But I'm making this video for two reasons in particular. Number one, something like the actions of this creator impact all of us. It impacts all of our credibility and impacts all of what we do. When one of us engages in practices like this, it makes it seem like we all do that. It's why the Carissa Thompson Sideline Report controversy was so widely criticized by sideline reporters who are doing things the right way. It makes every sideline reporter seem as though they lie. This video feels like it needs to be made to protect the credibility of not just myself, but the other sports YouTubers who are blessed to do this for a living.
He's not wrong with this statement. All it takes is one bad apple, maybe even several bad apples, for a tree to grow weak and eventually collapse on the people who are surrounding it at the bottom. Take, for instance, the Minecraft community. That is a community that has been put through the ringer numerous times over the past few years because of various incidents involving the likes of Sky Does Minecraft, Lion Maker, individuals who committed heinous and atrocious acts that eventually earned them the right to be ostracized by YouTube and or rendered irrelevant by the community that had looked up to them the most. And this is a messed up thing because all the good YouTubers who are trying their best to promote how good of a game Minecraft is, they're hit with this stigma that now causes people to question their credibility. And that's why a situation like this matters. This is not something that you should just report to YouTube and forget about it afterwards. You think YouTube gives a shit about this type of thing? Fuck no! Why do you think this website now is run by bots and algorithms? It's because Google doesn't want to use the resources and manpower to police this site. And that's why it's our jobs as creators. Doesn't matter if we have 500 subscribers or 500,000 or 500 million. It's our jobs to police ourselves for when we screw up. Not just for us and our channels, but for the people around us, the communities that we are a part of, the fellowships that we are a part of. If I go onto my YouTube channel or my Twitch channel and I do something that will damage my reputation or damage my integrity, I want people, whether it be my fellow berserkers or one of my good friends like Arkasul, to call me out on it. Hey, what you're doing is messed up. Please stop. Because not only does that make me a better content creator, it makes the people around me better. And I can take this a step further. A lot of you who have been on this channel for the longest time know every once in a while I'll be on one of Mary Mayhem's Patreon streams. If I go into one of her streams and I do something that not only makes me look like a dumbass, but potentially jeopardizes her career and her reputation, I want her to call me out on the spot. Hey, what you're doing is going to potentially screw me over in the long run. Please stop. And I will. Because it not only makes me a better content creator, it makes her and everybody else in her circle better by comparison. Hell, I'll even take it another step further. Let's say I'm on My Nerdy Home's Twitch streams, and I say and do something that not only makes me look like an asshole, but potentially puts her career and her reputation at stake. I want her and her moderators to step up and be like, hey, stop being an asshole. And I will, because not only does it make me better as a content creator or a person, but it makes her community and everyone around her better by comparison. And I'm willing to bet there are some people who are watching this video right now. Heck, some of you are probably leaving it down in the comments below, sitting there thinking, if Black Lives Matter is really plagiarizing, what about other people in the NASCAR community? What about other people in the motorsports community? How many other scumbags are out there? What about the people that are on this podcast that he's a part of? Is Danny B Talks a scumbag and we just don't know about it? What about Eric Estep? What is he saying and doing behind the scenes? What about the Iceberg? Are some of his videos plagiarized? You just don't know unless you call it out. And I'm not in any way trying to say that the other people on that podcast are evil in their own right. The point I'm trying to make here is where there's smoke, there's fire. You see, that's the thing. It only takes one person to screw up for the entire ship to sink. But when you have multiple people who offer their help and are put in different stations on that ship, it stays afloat. There's nothing wrong with having integrity. There's nothing wrong with taking the initiative. There's nothing wrong with having pride in what you do and what you work on. There's nothing wrong with holding not just yourself accountable, but for holding other people accountable when they mess up on an ethical level, a moral level, or from a legality standpoint. And that's the purpose behind this video. So that will be it for this video. I'm sorry if my voice is a little bit low. My throat hurts like a motherfucker right now. Huge shout out to No Context Noom for bringing this situation to the light and making this video possible. I'll be putting his Twitter in the description below if you want to go give him a follow. Have a good laugh or two. He posts a lot of funny NASCAR memes and all that good shit. All that good shit, you know. And, yeah. Till next time, this is Heath Nation 2465. I'm outro.